podcast. This is where we talk about things that are nerdy. My name is Jonah. I'm here with Josh.
What's up?
I'm here with Joel.
Hello.
And I'm here with Evan.
Yo.
We got some guests on the episode tonight. Mick had to be a good person, a responsible person, and go home. We just watched the Odyssey. We got done watching it in IMAX. And we just want to kind of give our review, give our thoughts about it. We'll do non-spoilers first. We will kind of just vague talk about it, what we liked. We'll rate it, and then we'll go into spoiler talk for the last part of it. So who wants to go first? Anybody? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Joel.
Wow. I mean, I think words fail when describing something so huge and complex and crazy. And I guess I could just define it as a spectacle.
And that's the podcast,
Thank
guys.
you
We'll see you later.
Definitely a spectacle. Definitely an experience, especially in IMAX with the audio. And it was definitely an experience.
Yeah, I think the thing that stood out to me the most, honestly, was the sound design and just the cinematic shots. But some of those shots where there's loud things happening, it's like you don't expect it in a theater almost. Where like there's just like a ringing in your ears from how loud it is.
I don't know when was the last movie that I watched that as I was watching it and there was a drum beat, my heart was pounding at the same time. And so that was something that I literally put my hand on my chest and I'm like, is this the audio that's doing this? Or am I literally...
Am I having a heart attack?
Yeah, pretty much. So it definitely, like it's a, wow. It's a journey, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sound design is crazy. The score is insane as well, but just everything, like you guys said, when those moments hit and it starts accelerating and the drum beat's going, but then the environment is so loud, like when they're on the ocean and the water's just coming in, or the wind, like you kind of feel like you're in there, which is really cool. Nolan does such a good job of like doing the sound design, and people complain about, oh, you can't understand what people are saying. But in those moments, it's kind of like, I kind of feel like the guy's on the boat, you know, which is really cool. And like you said, Joel, it's kind of just the experience of it. I just feel like there are very few movies that when you go, it's kind of like a spectacle or an event. This is one of those that you have to see in theaters just because it's so immersive. The way it's shot, the sound design, the acting, everything about it is just like, you got to see it the way it's intended to be.
Yeah, and IMAX too, because you need that aspect ratio, because there'd be a lot cut off. Yeah, I think it's probably Nolan's, maybe up there with Oppenheimer and Interstellar, just one of his better ones at creating tension.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
reeling you in with there, especially with the audio.
I think like visually, it's probably one of my favorite. Just like, it's outside of his normal wheelhouse. You know what I'm saying? It's like epic sword and sandals type of story, like the sweeping views, the ocean, like all the shots on the boats. I'm like, he put dudes on boats and was just like, hey, let's shoot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like, it's pretty insane. Or even just like the Cyclops stuff, pretty cool visuals. But I'm struck by just the way it looked. Mostly, I think on first watch is like, wow, this is truly an epic. And watching on IMAX, I wish there were a 70 millimeter IMAX near us, because that's like I can't even imagine what it looks like on that massive screen.
Well, they were even saying, I watched an interview with Matt Damon. He said when they filmed the Trojan horse scene, he's like, we just all climbed in there, and the water was freezing. They said it was going to be warm water, but the water was freezing, and Nolan's in there, and the cinematographer's in there.
Nolan was in the Trojan horse?
And, well, yeah, because they're filming.
He was.
And then he's like, I'm looking down, and John Bernthal's in the water, and he's freezing, and he's doing the takes. He's, like, shaking, and he's just trying to hold his hands together to be able to, so it doesn't look like he's freezing. I just feel like those are kind of things that kind of come through when you watch it. It's like, this isn't done on a back lot, where they're piping in warm water, or, the volume, right? Where it's just like a few guys in the background's kind of done digitally. It's like, no, they built this thing. They're putting the IMAX cameras in there. They're getting all the, like, you can totally tell that it's real.
Yeah.
And it kind of translates on screen.
Yeah, I think the authenticity really shines, especially in something like that. Like if the actors are expecting warm water and they get cold, they get their real reactions to the cold water, which
probably
is
on purpose.
which is what it would have been like, right, in The Horse. So I think that really shines in this movie for sure.
Yeah. I think all the acting is really good. I don't think there's a performance that you're like, oh, that wasn't very good. Like even small roles, you hate all the suitors, you know, like everything about them you dislike, but that's just because they're acting it well. Matt Damon, I think, is probably my favorite acting that he has done. I think he has some of the coolest lines too. I think he's written really well. And people like Tom Holland and Zendaya, who a lot of people were coming, why are they in this? I think they do a really good job. So to me, everybody just kind of does a really good job. So that was something that I enjoyed as well.
Yeah, I feel like career-defining performance for Matt Damon. And I really liked Anne Hathaway, too.
She was good.
She was fantastic,
Yeah, she was phenomenal, especially in those final scenes and the one-on-one with Robert Pattinson, who was also really great. But yeah, Tom Holland as well. You know, I think he's had in his career, people be talking like... This guy can only act Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
He's gotten criticisms like that, and so hopefully this is a gateway for him to get more roles like this because he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I there's something about Nolan that really elevates actors and actresses. I mean, he gets the best out of them. Maybe it's just because Nolan is who he is, and everyone wants to work for him, and so maybe they're just giving it 110%. But John Bernthal was it also just fantastic. Like there wasn't a character in this movie that I thought, you know. It was more to the fact that you see their names on the list of who's in the movie when they talk about the movie that has this and this and, you know, this person and this person, was Leguizamo, and you know, you're like, how are they going to fit in? And then all of a sudden they do the role of their lives essentially, and it really is a spectacle.
Yeah, I feel like even just like random characters, you're like, oh, that's that one actor, you know what I mean? Like that dude from Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Is
God of War.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
Where was it?
He's Mentor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did great.
Yeah, he was awesome. It actually got me excited for the God of War show. I was like, okay, shave his head. He's good.
And then the guy from Prometheus, I don't know what his name is. But the sniveling guy that was sending the weapons down the hole.
Yeah.
Sorry, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
But yeah, or even just like Cersei. Like, I don't know if I've seen that act. I think I've seen the actress before, but like she was awesome just in like the small, you know, whatever, 10 minutes of screen time she had.
Yeah.
That's like every single person that's on screen is like nailing it, which is, I think, pretty rare sometimes.
Yeah. And I think we should probably mention, you know, because there has been a lot of uproar about casting for this movie.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And so the Lupita Nyong'o and Elliot Page playing, you know, a lot of
Achilles. That's what I heard.
There's been a lot of uproar. One, they both do a good job with the characters. I thought like it's. They do a good job. Yeah. It's not like they stick out like sore thumbs. And the other thing is too, they're in it for about 5 to 8 minutes, like total. Yeah. It's not even anything that's a big part of the story. So it's just very overblown. I do think the biggest issue with Elliot Page playing the character is the size.
Yeah, agreed.
The armor's way bigger. It's a small part, but it's also a small person. And so to me, that was a little, once I got over it, it was fine. But I feel like there could have been a better casting in that sense. But
I mean, they made a practical Cyclops. They couldn't do some prosthetics.
They should have.
On that point, like, I want to see the behind the scenes 5-hour documentary.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things in here that you're going, how did they do that?
Well, yeah, I think they said that they filmed in like a legit cave. They're like, yeah, we're
They built
going
the
up
sound.
there.
Yeah.
They built the sound station and had to hike up there every single day to shoot.
Yeah.
Just crazy, which is.
And they found a real Cyclops, actually.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
on an island.
the ship, like all the stuff on, like you said, the stuff on the boat. I mean, they're out there in the ocean. Like, how did they do a lot of those things? You know, it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that was a highlighted thing that Matt Damon said. Is this is a shoot that he's never experienced before, with how intense it was, and you know, just like you said, Josh, the constant hiking up to the spot every day. It's not something that a lot of these actors probably have to experience at all, which again elevates the authenticity of it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much more we can talk about without to go into the spoilers.
Spoiler.
So let's rate it. Give it your rating for those that haven't seen it. Again, I think we all recommend going and watching it in theaters. I think it's worth it. I'll start. 9.9.
Look,
9.9.
I don't really have any complaints with it. I again, there's nothing that to me is like, oh, that was slow or that was boring. I was like invested from the beginning. The acting's great, the soundtrack's great, the sound design's great, the cinematography. It's every shot is like meticulous, even how it's framed in the storytelling of it, like flashbacks, flash forwards, like all these stuff that I just feel like it's stuff he's done in his other movies, but I just feel like he has totally nailed it to be like, that's the shot we need for that moment. We're going to come back to that shot and kind of reveal a little more. So to me, there's nothing really to complain about. It's a 9.9.
Perfect. Almost perfect.
9.9.
Wow.
Who's going to follow that up?
I'm going to say something that's going to upset some people here, but I'm going to go for 8.7.
How dare you?
It doesn't
I'm
upset
upset.
me. That doesn't.
No,
upset
I'm
me.
not upset.
So, I mean, my logic behind it is, like I said, it was an experience. It was definitely something that I'm happy that I did it. And
You better be happy they paid for your ticket, my guy.
True. Appreciate it.
8.7 is a good score.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Josh.
It
Thanks.
needs to be a 9.8 at least.
But to the point is, I think that it might have been a couple parts that dragged on a little in my personal taste. We'll just leave it at that. I'll go deeper later if.
This is a tough one. I think I'm going to give it. I'll round up to I'll give it a 9. I can't quite put my finger on what it was lacking to be like 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Like I can't quite pinpoint it because I'm not sure exactly if some of the emotional moments, I think maybe I wanted a little more. It's like how long is this movie? 3
hours.
3 hours
plus hours. And there's some awesome moments that I was like, literally got chills. But I think maybe I wasn't put over the hill entirely with, I think I needed just a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably give it like an 8.9. I think I guess my reasoning for not giving it higher, I mean, that's already a good score. I loved it, but
How dare you?
I think just maybe contrary to his other films like Oppenheimer or something, I don't have like a strong personal attachment to it. And maybe that's just the nature of the story, because everyone has read the Odyssey, presumably. Maybe not, but I've read the Odyssey. I knew all the stuff that was going to happen, so maybe it's some of that. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It's more like it is a very specific character-driven story, obviously, in a similar fashion to Oppenheimer, but I think, I don't know. I can't really quite put my finger on it, I guess, either.
All right. Maybe you guys need to watch it again. Just kidding. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our ratings. We're now going to go into spoilers. So if you have not watched it, go watch it and then come back and listen to us talk about spoilers. So yeah, go ahead. Anybody that wants to go first? Go. You said you wanted to explain a little something.
No, explain yourself.
Let's argue.
Okay. So I'll add this, right? I think this is, and this is a mark of a good movie that it impacts you so much. And this is like Nolan, quintessential Nolan. I think of all his movies have done this to me, except for maybe the one that's backwards.
Memento.
No, Memento, definitely no. But the one that they travel in time.
Tenet.
Oh.
Tenet, that's it. No, Memento was like my first experience where I was like, what did I just watch? It like blew my mind. It's that, let's say it's the Nolan effect, right? Which you finish a movie and it leaves a mark on you. It's something like that. So I will say that this has Nolan effect in full regalia, all of it working. But yeah, I think that there were some scenes that were a little long, you know, some of the stuff on the ocean, some of the battle scenes, like when they're running, like it's impactful, and then it goes on and it continues to go on, and it's just loss after loss after loss. I guess that's part of the design, but I think some of that stuff to me did go on a little, and I'm already very emotionally invested, and then you have these things that extend along, and at a while I'm like, can we get a little bit of rest, or we're gonna break off at some point? I don't know. The battle scene at the end also, I think, was just it went on just a little too much for me, and maybe I'm just a sensitive soul. That I was like, this is a little too much for me.
I can see that with the battle scene at the end.
Yeah,
I think
I can't.
I think I could kind of agree with you. Maybe like the beginning or section with Tom Holland and kind of that introduction with the exposition.
Right.
Maybe that was a little too long for me.
Yeah. And also there's a moment at the end, to your point, there were moments of chills. I think there were moments in the battle, the conversation he had with his wife when she's there and he's revealing himself. And it's the big twist there, right? Because he understands that, man, I still got to get my head around this, because the theme, I was talking to Jonah on our way here, I was like, what was the theme, right? Because, if we want to go like really light, we can say, well, war is bad, which I don't think that is. But there's a deeper theme about taking care or like the thing of the mistreatment of the beggars, right? Mm-hmm. And then going against the will of Zeus, right? The law of Zeus, right? And the fall of the Bronze Age, and all these things, and then it says we were, they're the invaders from the sea, that twist in the end. They're like, we were the invaders, we're the evil ones who actually brought this whole thing down upon its head, right? So. I think that there's so many themes in there that merit. I don't know. I just got to sit down for a while and just kind of ponder it. And that's the best of that a movie can do, is make you ponder and make you come to different conclusions. That's really when it's elevated to an art form.
Yeah. I really like that. Like following down that thought process of like that twist or that reveal, or just the fact that he's like, we destroyed something that was sacred, a gift, and we used that to murder them, essentially.
Yeah.
And that being like essentially the catalyst for everything that's happening in his own kingdom now at this point, right? The reason why these guys are there is because, they've lost that regard for the fellow human being and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting, like kind of theme that you were talking about. But yeah, that was probably my favorite part in the movie. And talking about music, I really enjoyed the soundtrack, but I don't think up until that point there wasn't a moment where I was like, the score is
right
fitting perfectly. And that scene of him, I think he says something like, 10 years of rage
that's a great line,
were poured out on the city, and then the music is playing and there's like that steady drum beat, and that was a moment where I was like got chills, and like was completely like, oh wow, this is like visually sonically,
Right.
like everything just worked together, and also bringing together that theme of like, like you said, his reveal of how he feels the way
Sure.
he feels. That was just amazing.
There were some lines in there that the dialogue was, the way it was delivered, what was visually on screen, that really do, I think we're on another level. That part, that phrase, that the 10 years of frustration were unleashed upon the city, right? When he's Calypso and he's leaving, and Calypso says, oh gosh, it was such a great line. I'm gonna butcher it, but she says, give up and give yourself over to the gods, and Poseidon will not destroy you completely, because Zeus will still has you in his hands, or just this. And he's floating out. He's creating this raft and floating out into the vastness of the sea. And finally, after all these hours that we've accompanied him, he's finally saying, "Okay, I just give up. I'm just going to let the story go where it has to go, and I'm not going to defy fate and the gods and all these things." I mean, I think that was also another moment.
When it goes back to the other guy, I can't remember his name, but him, when they're on the boat and he's asking him, apologize, beg forgiveness, right? And he refuses to do that. It's kind of like, and they all die because he's unwilling to do that.
Well, yeah, the whole movie, he doesn't really care about the gods, to be honest, because when he gets the prophecy, when he's talking to the dead, he keeps saying stuff like, I will defy the gods, or I won't let that happen. He even says the thing, I'll put the wax in their ears so they can't hear. And it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, with the acceptance.
And that ties in. I mean, the moment of acceptance eventually comes through when he's sitting, like that dialogue where he's sitting with his wife, and then he sees Athena next to him. Which, by the way, I'm gonna confess something. I dislike Zendaya. There's never been a role that I'm like. People were like, "Oh, she's so amazing," and I'm always like, "She's okay." I mean, like nothing really blew me away. In this movie, I really, really saw her. For what she can do, and kudos to her, because she was at the same time divine and at the same time vulnerable, right? And that she represented, like, she was showing herself in that form where he saw the girl who was killed, and that represents Athena eventually. Fantastic, really, really great job from her.
Yeah, I think that goes to show what you were saying earlier about Nolan bringing the best out of actors.
Absolutely.
And Zendaya, pretty limited screen time in the movie, honestly. But she's pretty standout in it. And
she is.
Yeah, I think it's one of her better performances.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think the movie, it's riddled with those, like, they're not one-liners, but almost like a monologue, and then it'll cut when he finishes a sentence or something, and it'll show like a 5-minute sequence, like when he's talking to his wife, and it just shows the whole, like, when they finally get inside the walls of Troy, and it lasts a long time, and then it just cuts right back to the conversation they're having. They do that all throughout the movie, and I don't know, it's so Nolan, but it works really well in this one.
Yeah, definitely. Jonah?
No, go ahead, Jonah.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. It's your 9.9, brother.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I did really like. I mean, it's pretty standard for Nolan to do a non-linear movie. We were joking about it outside the theater of like, well, it's a Nolan movie, so it's got to be non-linear. But I did like the way he framed it of like, let's start, what's happening. Let's talk about, what with Telecahus and Penelope and Ithaca, and then you start seeing the story from Troy, like a little bit from the Bard. And then it's like, well, no, that's just a tale. And then it cuts back. And then, just the way that he shifts the perspective of, let's go back to Odysseus talking to Calypso about what he remembers, and then using that as a vehicle of like showing us what happened, him retelling his own story, and then kind of merging them back together. I thought it was just really well done. And it's much more interesting than just being like, let's follow Odysseus on his tail,
Yeah,
and then
sure.
we'll cut away. Like just introducing those different dynamics. I think it's just it's clever writing, and I think it works really well.
I think it's a cool way to tell the story of the Odyssey too, a story that's so familiar. Like it's almost like someone is like reading the story to you with the way they retell it.
Well, even just the stuff that you were saying there, where it's kind of like they drop a little tease of Agamemnon, right? When they're talking, and he's like, "Oh, well, he sacrificed his daughter," right?
Yeah.
And they show you him carrying his daughter to be sacrificed, right? And they kind of just leave it there, show you that, and then a ways later, when they're in,
Hades.
before that, when he's talking to John Bernthal's character, and then she's like, "Why don't you tell him what happened to?" And he's like, "No," but there's something there that you're like, "Oh, what did happen to him?" Right? And so they kind of throw that in there a little bit, and then when you get to Hades and he shows up, and then he starts.
What's your thought
telling
on
his story? I thought that was really cool.
What's your thought on not showing his face really? Like that's had to be a conscious. Like you just see it for seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's maybe kind of to make he's not like a mystical figure, but
he does kind of fit in that, doesn't he?
Yeah,
like you see him whenever he's even Odysseus like bows and like reverence.
I think it's supposed to be like a symbol of power almost, or like no one is like worthy enough to see what this guy even looks like.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that. And especially in the scenes where he's dying, you don't see his face.
You don't see his face. You don't see it's really, and so you see him even dead, and even dead he towers above everyone.
Yeah.
And he really is, it's definitely a choice.
Well, I think it's the way I took it was more like I think kind of like what you're saying is like, this is the imposing figure that everyone's afraid of, right? They mention when his sails, when he unfurled his sails to go to war, everyone followed, right?
Yeah.
So he's a figure that everyone follows, right? And then he gets stripped away from all of that.
Yeah.
In an intimate moment with his wife, and that's when he dies, right? That's what kills him. Is basically like he says, like, "Oh, I trusted, I was finally free to come back home and relax." And that's what ends up getting him killed, which is what leads him to say to Odysseus, like, "Hey, don't make the same mistake I did." Mm-hmm. But I think just that idea of like having this untouchable person who's like, conquering these kingdoms, and then he comes home and strips it all away, and that's what, gets him killed. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and I think just kind of going along with the whole like symbol of power thing, I think there's a scene where when we see like most of the actual like invasion of Troy, where Odysseus is like looking and he like sees behind him, or he sees that guy's back, and I think it's kind of like, yeah, like you said, everyone will follow him into war, but he's also like the symbol of like evil, I guess, that Odysseus kind of like realizes, like, when he sits down on the stairs and realizes something along the lines of like, we're really no better than these people. And, we're killing literally everyone. I mean, he sees like women and children dying. Mm-hmm. And I think that guy is maybe just like a more broader personification of it.
Yeah, because even Lupita Nyong'o kind of says it. They're like, "Oh, the face that launched 1,000 ships," and then she says, "No, it's Agamemnon's whatever desire or pride or whatever was what launched that ships. It wasn't,
I also like the line when he's like 1,000 ships or maybe 500, and then they
show her face,
show her other half that's all disfigured. That was a cool line, and just how it was revealed. There's a lot, like you guys said, there's a lot of moments that in the span of 3 hours that if you go back and think about it, you're like, okay, I remember that. I have to bring up I think Nolan kind of stepped into some horror elements in this movie that I wasn't expecting, whether it was the Cyclops stuff.
That stuff was scary.
But also the pig stuff where it's body horror, kind
straight
of
up body horror,
where she begins to like make basically like as if they were clay,
Yeah.
and like molding them into pigs. That was crazy. And there's a fine line. I think he does a. One of my complaints with like Zack Snyder or other Ridley Scott is the when it's violence is overdone, you know. And I think there's a very fine line, even in those final moments when he's seeing people murdering women and children. It doesn't go too far to the point where it's just like gratuitous and like I'm gonna shock you with it, but it's like you see those moments and it kind of cuts away right before you know, but it's really powerful. And I think it was similarly done with the pigs. It was to the almost getting to that point where it's like, okay, this is really gross, but it would like pull back a little bit, or like the camera would shift away, stuff like that. That I was like, it was meant to get you freaked out and to be like, oh, this is body horror, but at the same time, it wasn't like
gratuitous,
going over the top. It was like, it was still meant to do that, but I don't know. I feel like in other, like if you watch a horror movie like House of Wax or something, it was like, I'm going to slice half their face off and all this, but you know.
House of Wax is the one you picked?
I'm just saying. But I thought that was interesting. It was still, you could tell people in the audience were like getting squeamish with it, but it was still,
messed up, dude.
It was still kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I had a lady next to me that was having a really hard time.
I think that's just one of those cool things of like, I say cool, but it's like when you look at the story of the Odyssey, I think this is the fun part about adapting, you know, whether it's a book or anything. It's like, how do you interpret or how do you show the audience what is written on text? And that's a perfect example of something that I would never have thought of in a million years. You know, I was like, oh, I wonder how she's going to turn them into pigs, you know, like wave her hand, sprinkle some dust, and they're like, they turn into pigs, you know? But no, this was like,
everyone eating, and like having to watch her do it, and how the camera like
they can't
pans around, right? If she like gets one and then she like grabs the next person, like it was just so like unnerving. But I was like, man, this is crazy. Part of my thing about buying physical media is I'm like, I cannot wait for the steelbook of this to come out and have the bonus features where they do like how this was filmed, how this was done.
Yeah, it looked all practical.
Because I'm like
a lot of it did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, when the Cyclops is, when they get the eye and he's crying and he's talking, I was like, I feel bad for the little Cyclops guy.
I mean, he was just tending his sheep.
That's right.
Making cheese.
And they burned his eye.
I know. But those kind of things where he's like, well, that was a cool line. He's like, do you ever talk to ants?
Yeah.
You know, like, there was those little lines that you're like, that's really cool. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like the Cyclops thing, just like kind of every encounter they have on all those islands is just like we're no better than anyone else type thing.
Yeah.
Because the guy literally says, like, should we try reasoning with him? Because they realize that, like, he's kind of sad.
Yeah.
He's, like, living alone on the island, but they still burn his eye anyways and escape
then he
and
shoots him
shoot him with the arrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, there's I mean, sad. There's a lot of, like, well, it's tragedy, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of tragedy in there and you know, just death and loss and destruction. It definitely does hit you, but you're on to the next one, right? You're on to the next thing, and
you got
moving
no
here, and you got to go, and you know, and so, yeah, it's definitely an experience.
Yeah. Every time they pulled up to a new island, they're like, "Hey, land, we found it! Oh, shoot! Get on the boat! Get on the boat!"
What's the trick on this island?
Yeah, I thought the scenes with those big giant dudes was pretty sweet, like just running through, and.
What is that? That was the only thing that happened that I wasn't like familiar with before.
I can't remember what the name of the island is. I feel like in the Odyssey they're cannibals. I feel like.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
But what's the name of
I can't remember what the name
Cliffmen or something like that. I can't remember what their name is.
But I thought it was cool, like how the trees were like surrounding them and like imprisoning them. But yeah, that was just a cool like. They're like, hey, it's hey, sir, and it's a giant kid.
Yeah.
That's just a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. They remind me of the engineers from Prometheus.
Yeah.
Just even how they walked.
Yeah, pretty inconvenient that like over the hill, there's just all of them and all suited up in their armor too, just like ready to come out and destroy.
The other, I feel like there's an aspect of. I think you mentioned this, but I was gonna. The score throughout is kind of dissonant a little bit.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really hit full till towards the end. I thought that was really cool. There were some moments too where they used like just voices, like singing, that I thought was really cool. I want to kind of listen to the soundtrack without the
waves crashing.
Oh, yes, because I feel like there was some stuff that was lost in there because of either the loud bangs or the thunder or this kind of stuff in there that I'm like, there's a little more to it, but with everything else in it. And I think it's intended to be that way. But there were some parts that just gave me chills when the drums kicked in or the score would kick in along with kind of a sweet line and then kind of just the visuals of it. I just thought there are several moments that I'm just like, those were like chill inducing. Like my favorite one was when he does the bow. And Nolan does such a great job of talking about the bow when Penelope starts talking about the bow, and then it does a flashback to him hunting, right? And kind of doing that whole thing. And then when he does it there and then he plucks it and there's a little like run with the score that goes dun, 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 and then he hits it. Oh, that I got chills there. Like that was just like so well done.
That's kind of the ultimate climax right there.
Yeah, that was just really good. And then I like the action scene where he's taking everybody on. I just thought that was cool, but also seeing the other guys that are like start kneeling because they're like, you know, at first everyone's against him, and then you see little by little, like after he's kicking everybody's butt, they're like, oh no,
turns into John Wick.
yield. But yeah, I thought that was really cool.
John Wick.
Yeah, John Wickenham.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I really liked was kind of the portrayal of the gods. They really pull off the like mythical or like the myth of it, because you never see anything besides Athena, but then kind of making Athena have like actual emotions instead of just almost like a heartless god. I thought that was really cool.
I think they should have brought in Russell Crowe to play Zeus.
Yeah.
Sean Bean.
Those are, I really like that too, but I also like it how it connected with when he's asking Athena, like, well, how do you talk to a god, right? And she's like, can't you hear thunder? Can't you see this? Don't you know pain? Like grief, like all this kind of stuff. Like as she starts talking about, like, this is how gods communicate. You can see this through how they do that. And I thought that was interesting because you can, if you want to go like, you know, faith wise, you strip away the gods and you make it about one God, right? But even that aspect of where you can look into that and see that theme of, well, how do you know that God exists, right? Like there are ways of knowing how God speaks and stuff like that. So I just thought that was a really cool way of looking at it in terms of what does a human do interacting with the spiritual side of things, you know, the spiritual realm. I just thought that was like really unique way of kind of explaining and having those conversations that, again, go deeper the more you think about it.
Mm-hmm. Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agreed. I think that a lot of this movie is centered around. I mean, we're saying the acting is great, the set pieces, the action, but essentially there's a lot of heart in it, and there's a lot of, I think, different from a lot of Nolan stuff. That there's a more, I don't know, maybe Interstellar was close to the more emotional story, more like a spiritual edge to it, let's say. And I think this is the most in one of Nolan's movies. But I think that also, this kind of sound weird, something that plays into that is lighting. like there's so much fire lighting that there's such a different to. I've never seen a Nolan movie like this. Maybe The Dark Knight, some of the night scenes, but all that is lights, right? Mm-hmm. And this is fire. So there is kind of like this something that even in all the islands they come through, they just feel. And I know he's not playing with. I mean, he does everything natural, right? So a lot of these are like in winter, and there's fog, and there's all this stuff going on that really does make it feel cold, or it makes it feel blistery. It makes it feel, it's just so fascinating how he used lighting in this movie. Really, really crazy.
Yeah, especially in the fog, honestly. That was something I noticed right away. Like in the scene with the sirens, they're just kind of shrouded in the fog, and the light, you can tell it's like behind all the fog. And
with the giants as well.
Yeah.
And with the animal, the lady, the pig lady also.
In the cave with the Cyclops was awesome.
Yeah, the lighting in the cave was actually really claustrophobic,
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right.
I guess
Any other thoughts?
How do you guys compare it to other Nolan films?
I have to watch
Mr.
it.
9.9.
I have to watch it a little more. Because I feel like part of it is kind of the experience of it, but then also being able to go back and being like, okay, now that because I mean, this is my most anticipated movie of the year. And so I feel like whenever a Nolan movie comes out, it's like you're so excited that then you're kind of just there along for the ride. To be able to go back and rewatch it now, knowing what's coming, and be able to focus more on, I want to see what did they actually say there, or how does that connect? I
had no idea what they were saying.
I think it's going to get better.
It's like the Rocky preview. I'm Robbie.
But I don't know. I don't know if you can put it on it's up there. It's definitely top 5 for me.
Okay.
Oh, top 5 Nolan?
Yeah. No, it's
I
not.
think it's top 3. Wouldn't it be for you?
Yeah. What I'm saying.
I mean,
like I'm saying,
9.9.
I'm starting right now at top 5.
All the Nolan movies are 10, 9.9, 9.8.
Basically, that's what they are.
Right.
So for sure, it's a top 5. Now,
for sure.
Does it hit the top 3? Does it go 1, 2? It might be 2, honestly, for me.
2?
2. What's
Yeah.
1 for you?
Oh, well, see, that's the thing.
It changes.
It
all
changes.
the time.
Okay, so why is it?
I
for
think
sure?
I think Interstellar's still my favorite.
Okay.
Same here. Yeah.
But then I think about Prestige, and I'm like, I love the Prestige. But I don't know. There's just something about this that technically, to me, this is
it feels the most,
greatest movie he's ever done on a technical level.
It feels the most epic one he's ever done.
Yeah.
And so to me, and
Grandiose.
I also think there's quite a bit of emotion in this, where I feel like that's maybe sometimes lacking in some Nolan movies.
Like Tenet.
There's some moments where I'm just like, oh man, that I connect with that on an emotional level. So yeah, it's probably going to be definitely top 3.
Yeah, you can tell there's so much heart and soul in this one.
Yeah.
There was some quote that he said, and I'm going to butcher it, but he said something along the lines of, I never know. I think he was talking about Tarantino, because Tarantino's always so set on having 10 movies. And he said something along the lines of, I never know which movie will be my last one, so I'm always going to put 110% effort into each movie I make, because it might be my last one. And you can really tell with this one that, like, this feels like the most work he's put into a movie for me, personally. And it really shows.
And then he said, don't you dare watch this on a plane, you idiot. You have to watch it on the biggest screen possible.
Where is he going
Moron.
after this? I mean, like, you see kind of a buildup.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought
he does
after Oppenheimer. I was like, what are you
every time it's like, more actors. Let's bring in more. Let's do them all.
Yeah.
Next movie, 110 famous actors. The top ones we're going to go ahead and make this
it is crazy going from Oppenheimer to the Odyssey. Like, I would have never thought, natural progression from Oppenheimer is now go do the Odyssey. So I just feel like he does whatever, like, he gets an idea and he's like, I think that would be really cool to explore that.
Next one is a rom-com.
He's doing the second part of the Avengers Doomsday.
Oh.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah,
I
How
don't
sick
know
would that
what.
be?
you can't really predict what he was going to do.
No.
I guess, but
Do you think he'd ever do a sequel to one of his movies?
No.
no chance. Unless it was an established series like Batman, right? But I don't think he'll ever.
You don't think he'd
something
do
like that again.
Prestige too?
No. Why would you do a Prestige too?
The ball's still bouncing.
I think the only thing you could maybe do a sequel of is Dunkirk.
He could do a sequel to Memento.
It's too.
It's just, it's just another person.
It's another.
He's in another new town.
Lenny.
Memento's too old at this point. There's no. way he goes back.
Let's see what else. Interstellar, probably not. Inception could do.
Inception.
No, that would ruin Inception. You can't do that.
What if it starts with the thing toppling
you
over?
Can't do that.
Um,
It's the reason.
can't do a sequel to Oppenheimer.
Guess what? They're back.
Yeah, I guess I guess there's no movie that he could do
He could do a sequel to the Odyssey.
No, you,
That's
Or he could do something else in it.
He's never going to do it.
He'll do
Never,
the Iliad.
ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because that's his. I mean, his whole thing is he tells full stories, and his from start to finish. And because he plays with timelines so much, it also is a thing like it is a full experience, and like
Even the Batman movies, like you couldn't really watch Dark Knight Rises if you hadn't watched the first two, but you could stop after each one if you wanted to and still be pretty satisfied, especially after Dark Knight.
He's masterful in that. I mean, he's one of the greats of all times, the way he does it. And also
the great of all time.
he can do what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
No studio's telling him, can we cut this down a little? No one.
Yeah.
He's in charge.
Especially after Oppenheimer. He got a rated R movie to $1 billion.
Yeah, and this one's probably going to do the same.
Yeah.
Oh.
I would assume.
You think, even with the backlash?
I think the backlash is fake.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is just social media, and it's guys that are all part of the same, like, everything woke sucks, you know, and so like they get clicks that way. Because I was watching a bunch of
either.
Well, I was watching a bunch of guys that were like, "This is so woke," and they all went to watch it, and then they're like, "Affirmative, it is woke." But I'm like, you all went and watched it. Like all these people that are like, "I'm not going to spend my money on this," they're going to go watch.
Yeah.
And Hathaway was pretty woke in this, not going to lie.
And the reality is, I don't think the internet's a real place. I think it's
It
just
really
like
isn't.
when you
We're going to talk about dead internet theory now?
when you go out and you see that people are selling their IMAX sold out tickets. It's been sold out for a whole year, and people are selling their tickets for like $2,000 to go to watch it. Like that tells you that people. I mean, Nolan is a household name.
I think he's one of the few directors that will just bring people who never go to the movies and go watch a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe the only other one's Martin Scorsese at this point.
Yeah.
But he's almost done, probably. He's getting old.
Yeah.
And those freaking Avatar movies, for whatever reason.
Oh, gosh.
It happens. You know, to that point, I think I saw something really, I was telling Jonah here, like he's a philosopher, and he was talking about like the movie, kind of to anyone who's worried about these movies being woke or whatever. He was saying the funny thing is that Christopher Nolan did something really meta. Oftentimes you go to a movie, Jonathan Pageau, I think his name is, and he goes, oftentimes you go to a movie and you realize that it is mostly propaganda, right? I mean, it's just like there's really an agenda and it's pushing this. And this movie is, a lot of people are saying it's all agenda, it's all propaganda. And he's like, and he's Trojan horsing a story with that look, but that actually is something that has heart and truth and value in it. And he goes, so it's in a sense of the Trojan horse that's coming into everyone's life in this way, and it's a really solid, powerful story. So I thought that was really interesting, and I would have to agree. It's pretty wild.
I mean, if that was his intention, that's...
I wouldn't put it past the guy.
Yeah.
The guy is on another level. Like, he really is on another level.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Appreciate you staying up late. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X. We'll be back next week. Probably Mick will be able to tell us what he thought of the Odyssey. So come back for that. And we can all thank God that the Odyssey was not directed by James Gunn. That's one thing we can all agree about. Nolan, the GOAT, thanks for hanging out with us. See y'all next week. Thanks, guys.
See ya.